The limitations of the survival inventory have some serious and major problems, which at the very least can be solved with some late game items, which is definitely way more than what we could say about the creative inventory, which has some serious fundamental issues that really need solving. And I'll be pointing out some of the most major issues with the creative inventory and what we could do to possibly fix some of these issues. And the first one is pretty obvious when you first off go inside the creative inventory, being the fact that there's way too many items to see at one time. If you look from left to right, there are a total of 17 items in one single line, meaning trying to find anything in one spot might be a bit daunting when you look at every single thing at once, and this might be seen as like a benefit for some people, considering that you can see everything at once, but for other people, it might be just a little bit too much, which is why I think the simplest way on fixing this is probably just to slim it down just a little bit, maybe to as far as the amount of hotbar slots we have down here, which is almost exactly what we see in this mode of the creative inventory, where instead of having 17 items to look across, we only have 7 from left to right, which is way more reasonable to look at. But I don't know, maybe slimming the items from left to right down to like say 14 or 12 or something like that would make it so much easier, but the only reason they probably wouldn't do that is because we only have 4 different tabs to actually look through. And maybe the reason why we could see so many items at once is because we only have 4 separate tabs, because let's say for instance, just in this tab alone, we were to open up every single thing at once, every single one of these condensed tabs, which makes it easier to actually see everything, but if we just open up every single one of them just in this one particular tab, then we might notice that there is so many different items we see just on one particular tab, which makes it kind of hard to actually distinguish, again, what type of items you're looking for, what type of items you're not looking for. This entire system, while it does help being able to condense and open up specific sections of items, it still makes it really hard when you actually have to open up every single one of them to actually look through them. And I didn't even open up every single one of them, so I think what we should do is actually maybe add in an additional couple tabs, maybe an additional 4 or even 2 or something like that. Maybe one for building blocks, maybe one for combat, maybe one for food, maybe one for nature stuff, maybe one for redstone mechanics. I don't know. There are several different types of ways we could actually go by doing it, especially considering the fact that the way everything is like arranged is another reason why it's just so hard to find things for so many people. I mean, when we actually consider it, and when we actually go through the existing tabs we have, we might, get a general sense as to what we should be looking for and where we should be looking for, but the most obvious issue is the inconsistencies in certain tabs. Say, for instance, you want to find certain types of walls. Well, all of them are right here, right? Every single one of them. Not exactly, because if we go over to this tab, wait, why are there tough walls? Why are there polished tough walls? Why are there walls in this tab and not over with all the other walls? And a similar thing with food. You might be thinking, okay, this is all the food you'll find in here, but then you go over here and you see, wait a minute, why are there golden carrots and stuff like that over here? Shouldn't it be with all these other ones? Would it be better to have logs over with the planks? Would it be better to have, say, stone over with the other types of stone? I mean, I guess in some cases it does make sense with why certain things are in certain places. Like, say the nature tab right here. Almost every single one of these blocks and items we could find somewhere in the world. But then there's others that just don't naturally generate. Like, there's almost definitely some of these dyes that just never generate. There's almost definitely going to be like some of the different types of things that just never naturally generates inside the world here. I mean, granite, diorite, andesite, blackstone, all those make sense, but then we have all the polished versions and stuff, which sure, some of them do spawn in the world, but where others don't. I guess in some cases it is a bit nitpicky with what I'm pointing out, but in other cases it's just very confusing with how some of these things are laid out in the creative inventory. But in general, it's not the end of the world with how the creative inventory works for Bedrock Edition. I just think there are certain cases where there is room for improvements. Will that improvement come? It's unlikely, but you could always hope. You could always hope that something will happen in the not so distant future. But until that future comes, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.